Welcome to day 21 of my 30-day security challenge. This 30-episode series helps you take control of your online privacy and security one step at a time. You can follow along on my blog over at shannonrmorse.com, where you can also download the checklist and kind of skip ahead if you're feeling extra motivated. All the videos are also in a playlist right here on YouTube, so feel free to binge watch from day 1 all the way up through day 30. Today we are diving into OAuth and third-party app permissions. I know this sounds a little bit basic, but it is super important for your security. OAuth is this open standard protocol that lets apps request access to your data without needing your password. Instead of giving a website your username and password, you can use services like Login with Google or Login with Facebook to connect to other apps. Whenever you do this, you are allowing that app to have access to your info, like your name, your email, etc., without sharing your password. So why is this so important? Well, when you grant an app access to your data via OAuth, that app keeps that access until you revoke it. So if you have logged into a random app with your Facebook or your Google account, that app still has your info unless you go in and remove it manually. Now for some nerdy stuff. Currently, OAuth 2.0 is the general standard across the web. The older standard, which was just OAuth 1.0, that required your device to create a cryptographic signature every single time an API requested it. The newer 2.0 version pushes the security to the HTTPS protocol, which trusts the connection to protect the token and give you access. That makes the API call a lot faster, and it can now be used for mobile apps, for single-page apps, and microservices, along with the classic browser websites. OAuth 2.0 also introduced shortened token expiration dates. So now the authorization is a lot shorter lived, which vastly improves security in the event that a token gets compromised. So TLDR 2.0 is obviously better, and it should be used if you're a developer wanting to use Google or some other big brand to let people log in. There is also OAuth 2.1, but this one is still in progress and it has not been officially released yet. But OAuth 2.0 can still fail to vulnerabilities introduced by devs, like token leaks, misconfigurations, or overprivileged scope, like granting an app way more access than it needs. So I think it's still important to audit what apps have permissions to access your profiles and your information. Now, speaking of permissions and revoking access, before I show you exactly how to turn off or revoke all that access, when was the last time you actually checked what devices have access to your home network? This is a really perfect time to thank today's sponsor, Fing. Now, if you have watched my channel for a while, you definitely have seen Fing before because it's a tool that I have used for years to keep tabs on my own network and check networks whenever I am traveling. One of the easiest mistakes that people make is assuming that once you type in a Wi-Fi password to a secure network, everything else that's connected to that same network is also supposed to be safe. But think about how many devices you have accumulated over the years. You probably have an old phone sitting around somewhere, tablet, smart TVs, security cameras, game consoles, even printers and smart plugs. All of it is going to add up really fast. Fing Desktop gives you a clear inventory of what's actually connected so you can quickly spot unfamiliar devices, troubleshoot internet issues, or just figure out why your network seems a little bit slower than usual. And they just released Fing Desktop 4.0, which is the biggest update they have ever made. The interface has been completely redesigned, navigation is a lot cleaner, there's finally a dark mode, yay, and the app itself is faster and it's more responsive thanks to an entire rebuild under the hood. One of the things I also appreciate is that Fing continues to invest in security behind the scenes too. They recently achieved SOC 2 Type 2 certification, which means their security controls have been independently audited by a third party. As somebody who spends a lot of time evaluating security products, that's the kind of accountability and transparency privacy that I really like to see. So if you'd like a better understanding of what's happening to your own home network and who's on it, check out Fing Desktop using the link in the description below. It's one of those tools that's incredibly useful to have, especially as our homes keep on filling up with all sorts of connected devices. And of course, thank you so much to Fing for sponsoring this video and for supporting my channel. All right, it is time to clean up your digital footprint. Now, every single year, or more often if you want, or less if you don't have time, that's fine too, it's a good idea to audit the apps that have access to your accounts. Now, here's how you can revoke all those third-party app permissions. First, you want to log into your social network or your email profile, the one that is used for the login with part. Look for settings labeled something like permissions, apps, or connected apps. Go through the list of apps that have access to your data and just remove or revoke any that you no longer use or you just do not trust. Remember, changing your password on your main account is not necessarily going to revoke those OAuth permissions. You have to manually remove those yourself and remove that access from the app's settings themselves. Now, I made it easier for you by linking to all the direct pages where you can manage your connected apps, so you don't necessarily have to go through all of your settings. I've included apps like Google, Facebook, Twitter or X, LinkedIn, Instagram is on there as well, Microsoft, and a few more. So if you use other apps to sign into platforms, you can always just check those apps for permissions apps or connected apps or some kind of setting that has that general title. If you usually use a Google account, for example, to sign in, each of the different platforms will be listed under linked apps. Now you can actually click on each one of those listings to determine what kind of information it has access to. Some are just used to authorize, some just give you a login, that's great. Some grant a platform access to other stuff like your photos, your calendar, your data, etc. So we actually grant access to our accounts so frequently that we often forget who has our data. Apps can still be tracking you and using your information after you have forgotten about them. So reassess your apps every so often to stay on top of your privacy. Now that you have cleared out some of those apps, you should feel a lot more secure and you deserve a pat on the back. Don't forget to repeat this process as often as you need to make sure that your online data stays private. Now tomorrow we're going to talk about cleaning up your social network privacy. This is actually going to be really important because in today's day and age, which is very different from the last time I did my 30-day security challenge, like almost 10 years ago, nowadays we have a lot of new settings like reuse for AI and learning in LLM platforms. But first, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more tips. This is going to be a really important one with all the new things that have been introduced in the last year or so. So check out shannonrmorse.com for the downloadable checklist and to skip ahead if you just want to get a head start. I'm Shannon Morse and I will see you soon for day 22. Stay safe, s'mores.